Hey, welcome back to the Natural English Podcast.
Or if this is your first time listening, welcome. Make yourself comfortable. Today our episode is called Learn English Conversation, talking about hobbies, B2 level.
Hi, this is Sarah. I am really happy you're here, ready to talk about things you enjoy.
So, why hobbies? Why are we spending a whole episode on this? Because talking about your hobbies is like a magic key for small talk in English. Think about self-introductions at school, small talk at work, meeting someone at a party, or in an online English class. In all of these situations, you hear the same question. So, what do you like to do in your free time?
Yeah. And if you can answer that question clearly and a little bit deeply, conversation becomes so much easier. You do not just say, I like music, and then silence. You can add more naturally.
So, in this episode, our big goal is very simple. By the end, you can say, I can talk about my hobbies and explain why I like them in English. Let me say that again, slowly. I can talk about my hobbies, so I can say what I enjoy doing, and I can give reasons. I can say why I enjoy them.
And this is B2 level, upper intermediate. So what do we expect from you at this level? You do not need to give a long speech. It is not a presentation. But we want more than only, I like soccer. At B2, it sounds more like, I like soccer because it helps me relax after work, and I enjoy playing with my friends on the weekend. So maybe 1 or 2 extra sentences, a reason, and maybe a little detail about how you enjoy it.
Yeah, and to help you do that, this episode has a simple plan. First, we will look at some useful expressions, easy phrases you can use again and again to talk about hobbies. Second, you will listen to a natural conversation between me and Sarah using those phrases. Third, we will help you step by step to talk about your own hobbies using similar language. And finally, we will do a quick review so you remember the key phrases and ideas.
So, before we really start, I want you to do something small. Right now, just in your head, think of 2 or 3 hobbies you have. They can be simple, like reading, cooking, playing games, watching movies, anything you enjoy in your free time.
Yes, and it is totally okay if, right now, you only think about them in your own language. Later in this episode, we will help you turn those ideas into clear English sentences.
We will build the English step by step, so do not worry about mistakes yet. Also, about the speed of this podcast. We speak in a natural, but not too fast way, so you can shadow us. You can pause and repeat phrases if you like. Shadowing means listening to a short part and then speaking at the same time as us, like an echo. It is great practice for rhythm and pronunciation. For example, when you hear, I really enjoy hiking at the weekend, you can try to say it with us.
And if a difficult word appears, we will quickly explain it right away. Like the word chill when we say, I like to chill at home. Chill means relax. Do nothing serious. Also, you might hear the word unwind. To unwind means to slowly relax after stress. For example, I watch cooking videos to unwind after work.
Another word we might use is routine. Routine means your regular pattern in daily life. For example, my morning routine includes coffee and checking the news. We will not use too many new words, but these ones are helpful when you talk about your free time.
So, you know the goal, you know the plan, and you have some hobbies in your mind. Now, let us move into the real language. First, we will look at some basic phrases you can use when you introduce a hobby.
They are simple. but we will give you a few different versions, so your English sounds a bit more B2, a bit more flexible.
So, in this part, let's look at some key phrases to talk about your hobbies.
We'll keep it simple, clear, and you can just listen first.
The most basic one is listen carefully. My hobby is plus a noun.
For example, my hobby is photography. One more, my hobby is cooking.
Here, hobby is something you do again and again in your free time. It's an activity, not just a topic you read about sometimes.
Another very common pattern is I like, and then a verb with ing.
For example, I like reading novels.
Or I like playing the guitar.
So after I like, we usually say reading, playing, hiking, that ing form. You can think of it as the activity itself. Reading, playing, cooking.
Now, for more natural conversational English at B2, we can use I'm into.
I'm into means I like something in a casual way. For example, I'm into hiking in the mountains.
I'm into is friendly, a bit more chatty than just I like. You can use it with activities or with things like jazz, science fiction, or yoga.
We can also say, I'm really into something these days, to show it's recent. Like, I'm really into cooking new recipes these days. Another useful one is, I'm a big fan of plus a noun.
For example, I'm a big fan of rock music.
I'm a big fan of is great for music, movies, sports teams, and also famous people. It sounds like you enjoy it a lot. Maybe you follow it closely.
Another phrase you'll hear is, one of my favorite hobbies is.
For example, one of my favorite hobbies is playing video games. Or one of my favorite hobbies is doing yoga.
Here you're saying you have many hobbies, but this one is special. So it's a nice way to sound a bit more detailed, more B2 level.
Now, let's add the reason. We can say, I enjoy ing because.
For example, I enjoy reading novels because it helps me relax.
Listen again. I enjoy reading novels because it helps me relax.
Notice, enjoy is also followed by that ing form. Enjoy reading, enjoy playing, enjoy cooking. This pattern is strong. You can use it again and again with different hobbies.
Two more short patterns for reasons are, it helps me to, and it makes me feel. For example, I'm into yoga. It helps me to stay healthy. Another one, I like hiking in the mountains. It makes me feel calm.
So, with just these pieces, you can make 2 sentences about any hobby you have. First sentence, your hobby. Second sentence, the reason or the effect on you.
Let me give you a few full examples, and you can shadow later if you like. I'm really into hiking these days. It helps me relax on the weekend. My hobby is cooking. It makes me feel creative.
I like playing the guitar. I enjoy learning new songs because it's fun.
One of my favorite hobbies is reading novels. It helps me to forget about work for a while.
You might also hear the word interest, like I have an interest in art. Interest is more general. It can be a topic you like, even if you don't do it often. A hobby is more like an activity you actually do regularly.
Okay, now I'll read some of the key phrases slowly. You can pause the audio and repeat after me if you want.
My hobby is, I like ing. I'm really into these days. I'm a big fan of. One of my favorite hobbies is.
I enjoy ing because
it helps me to. It makes me feel.
As you listen, choose one hobby in your mind. Just one. Try to put that hobby into these patterns, like a small puzzle.
In the next part, you'll hear a natural conversation between me and Sarah using these phrases.
For now, just listen and see which expressions you can catch in our dialogue.
So, Sarah, what do you usually do in your free time?
These days, I'm really into baking bread. It helps me relax after work, and it kind of clears my mind.
Nice. When you say you're really into baking, you mean you do it a lot and you enjoy it a lot, right?
Exactly. Really into means it's one of my main hobbies, not just something I do once a year. For example, you can say, I'm really into movies, or I'm really into yoga these days. 今の表現覚えていますか? I'm really into カジュアルな会話でよく使うハマっているの漢字です。
So, when you bake, what do you enjoy the most about it?
I enjoy the quiet time in the kitchen. It makes me feel calm, and it's a great way to forget about emails and messages for a while.
Yeah, I like that phrase you used. It makes me feel calm. We can use that for any hobby, like going for a run makes me feel more energetic, or reading makes me feel peaceful.
Exactly, and I also enjoy going for long walks. It makes me feel fresh, and it clears my head.
Clears your head? That's a nice expression. So, clears my head means it removes stress and noise from your mind, and you can think more easily again. For example, listening to music on the train really clears my head after a long day.
そうですね。clears my head は頭をすっきりさせるというニュアンスで、フォーマルすぎない会話表現です。
Alright, my turn. One of my favorite hobbies is playing the guitar. I started when I was in high school, and I still play a few times a week.
Oh, nice. So, why do you enjoy it so much?
When I have a busy week, playing the guitar really helps me unwind. Unwind just means relax and slowly lose the stress after work or after a long day. Like, taking a hot bath helps me unwind, or watching a funny show helps me unwind before bed.
さっき Alex が言った helps me unwind はリラックスする緊張をほぐすという意味で日常会話でよく使います。Do you usually play the guitar alone or with friends?
Good question. I usually practice alone at home, but sometimes I play with friends on the weekend, and that's a great way to connect with people.
And how often do you play?
I try to play 3 or 4 times a week, even if it's just for 10 minutes.
So for you, why guitar and not another hobby?
I think I like guitar more than other hobbies because it mixes creativity and rhythm. And like you said before, it makes me feel calm, but at the same time, a little excited. By the way, the questions Sarah asked me just now, you can use them directly with your friends. For example, how often do you do it? Do you usually do it alone or with friends? Why do you like it more than other hobbies?
Yes. If you remember just those 3 questions, you can have a nice short conversation about hobbies.
Now it's your turn. Let's practice talking about your hobbies together. 次は皆さんが自分の趣味を話せるようにガイド付きで練習していきます。
質問に答えるだけで自分の趣味のみにスピーチが完成するようにします。
Okay, now we are going to build your own hobby talk. Step by step, I will ask you some questions in English. And after each question, I will leave a little space so you can pause the audio, and answer out loud.
So, try to really speak with your voice, even if you feel shy. It is just practice.
All right, question 1. What is one hobby you really enjoy? You can start with I'm really into, and then your hobby.
Or you can say, one of my favorite hobbies is, and then the activity.
Okay, pause now and say your answer. Good. Let us go to question 2. How often do you do this hobby?
You can say, I usually do it on weekends. Or maybe, I try to do it 3 times a week.
So, think about your real life and answer in a simple way. Pause now and say your sentence. Bao. Now, question 3. Why do you enjoy this hobby?
You can start with, I enjoy it because, and then give one reason. For example, I enjoy it because it is relaxing, or because it is exciting.
Take a moment. Choose one clear reason and say it. Pause here and speak. Okay, question 4 now. How does this hobby make you feel?
You can say, "It makes me feel calm," or "It makes me feel full of energy," or maybe "It helps me feel confident," or more creative.
Think of one feeling word, like relaxed, happy, focused, and use it in your sentence. Pause now and say it out loud. Great. Question 5. When and how did you start this hobby?
You can say, "I started this hobby in high school," or "I started about 2 years ago." Then you can add, "I began because my friend invited me," or "because I saw a video and wanted to try."
All right. Pause here and give a short story. Just 1 or 2 sentences. Now, I want to show you a small model answer using my own hobby. Listen once, then later you can build something similar with your ideas. I am really into photography. I usually take photos on weekends. I enjoy it because it helps me notice small details in my day. It makes me feel creative and more present, like I am really there in the moment. I started this hobby in high school when I got my first camera from my parents.
So you can hear, it is just 4 or 5 short sentences. But because Alex adds a reason and a feeling and a little story, it already sounds like B2 level. You do not need a long speech. Just connect a few clear ideas.
Here is a useful word, flow. Flow means that smooth feeling, when your ideas move easily from one to the next. For example, when I answer about my hobby, the sentences have a nice flow. They connect naturally.
You can think, first sentence, "What is my hobby?" Second, "How often?" Third, "Why I like it?" Fourth, "How I feel?" Fifth, "When and how I started?"
Now, let us try to put your own answers together into one short speech. I will guide you line by line. First, say one sentence to name your hobby, like, "I am really into," plus your hobby. Pause now and say that first line. Next, add how often you do it. For example, "I usually do it after work," or "I often do it on Sunday mornings." Pause here and say your second line.
Now, add your reason. Start with, "I enjoy it because," and say just one clear reason. Pause and speak your third sentence.
Great, now add your feeling. Begin with, "It makes me feel," and then choose a word like relaxed, proud, peaceful, or energetic. Pause and say that line.
Finally, add a short sentence about when or how you started. For example, "I started this hobby last year when I moved to a new city." Pause here and say your last sentence.
Okay, now try to say the whole thing, from the beginning to the end, without stopping the audio. If you want, you can pause, think, and then say your full hobby talk. All right, now, if you have time, try talking about one more hobby. This time we make it simpler. Just say what the second hobby is, how often you do it, and one reason you like it.
So, for example, "I am also into hiking. I usually go once a month. I like it because nature clears my mind." Now pause and try your own second hobby in 2 or 3 sentences.
Here is one more useful word, tweak. To tweak means to make a small change, to improve something. For example, you can record your hobby talk, listen once, and then tweak 1 or 2 sentences to make them smoother.
After this episode, try to record yourself on your phone and listen like you are listening to a friend. Or use your new hobby talk in an online lesson or in a chat with a friend who speaks English.
By now, you should have a short speech about your hobby in clear English. In the final chapter, we will look back at what you learned today and think about how to use it in real small talk.
And we will also give some easy alternative phrases and ideas for people who still feel nervous or want a simpler version.
So, we're coming to the end of this episode now. At the start, I said our goal was, I can talk about my hobbies and explain why I like them in English. If you're still here listening to my voice right now, you are very close to that goal.
Yeah, you've heard a lot of examples. You've repeated phrases. You've imagined your own hobbies. So let's just gently review the main points together.
Okay, point number 1 was how to introduce your hobby.
Those simple starter phrases, like, I'm into hiking, I enjoy playing the guitar, I'm a big fan of cooking shows.
You don't need a long, perfect sentence. Just one clear line. I'm into photography. I really enjoy reading crime novels. Then, point 2. Saying why you like it. The reason, the feeling, the effect on your life.
Yeah, we used patterns like, it helps me relax. It makes me feel calm. It's a great way to meet new people.
You can also say things like, it gives me energy, or it helps me stay creative.
Then the third point was how to keep the conversation going. The questions you can ask other people. Things like, how often do you do it? Why do you like it? When did you start? Who do you usually do it with?
If you remember just 1 or 2 of those questions, you can already have nice small talk in English.
Now I want to say something important here. Your hobby does not need to be impressive. You don't have to say, I climb mountains every weekend. It's totally okay to say, I'm into mobile games. I enjoy watching videos online.
Exactly. Just be honest. If you like watching cooking videos, you can say, I enjoy watching cooking videos in my free time.
One new phrase we used in this episode was small talk.
Small talk just means those light, simple conversations at work, at school, at a party, like talking about the weather or hobbies.
Yeah, and your hobby story is perfect for small talk. It's short, it's personal, and it's easy for people to answer. Another little tip. If you forget a word, don't panic. You can use a wider phrase like, I like doing active things, or I enjoy creative hobbies.
Right. Maybe you can't remember the word for a specific game. You can still say, I like playing games on my phone. That's enough.
There was also the word template in this episode. A template is like a simple pattern you can copy. For example, I'm into plus your hobby, then because plus your reason.
So your personal template might sound like, I'm into yoga because it helps me relax after work. You can just change the hobby and the reason each time.
Now, some ideas for your practice after this episode. First, write a short note, a mini script about your hobby. Just 3 or 4 lines, then say it out loud sometimes.
Second, when you start a new hobby in the future, stop and think, how can I say this in English? Use the same pattern. I'm into, it makes me feel, it's a good way to.
And third, you can listen to this episode again and try shadowing. Shadowing means, while you listen and speak along with us at the same time, like you are our third speaker.
When you shadow, don't worry about being perfect. Just feel the rhythm, the sound, the natural pauses. And next time you introduce yourself in English, try to use 1 or 2 of today's phrases about hobbies.
Yeah, maybe at work, in class, or in an online meeting. You can share something like, I'm really into, yeah.
Before we finish, I just want to say, you're doing great. Talking about yourself in another language is not easy.
But you stayed with us. You listened carefully. You imagined your own examples. That is real progress.
We'll probably talk about work or study in a future episode, so you can explain what you do, not just what you like.
Yeah, so you can build a full, natural self-introduction step by step.
All right, time to close this episode. Thanks for listening to Natural English Podcast. Keep practicing and see you next time.
Bye for now, and enjoy talking about your hobbies in English.